SHW. This is our wrestling.
This is insane what we're seeing right now.
We're going out tonight. It's been a long, long time. Make sure I look just right. It's going down.
Heads up, here comes the strap.
All hail the queen!
Another spear, will it be enough?
No, not this
like
way.
this, not like
Come
this,
on.
no.
This is just bedlam right now.
Hey, what is going on here?
Let's start this party, then I'll feel alright.
You've got to be kidding me.
Holy cow.
And now, the voices of SHW, Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What is going on, everybody? It's me, B-Double, GB, and Diana. We're back with the official podcast of SHW. SHW, this is our wrestling. We took a little week off, but now we're back, and we're ready to go. We're ready to talk about our last show, SHW33, and a whole lot of other stuff that's going on in the world. So, first of all, how's everybody doing this evening?
Everything's well down in Dubtown. Can't complain.
Yeah.
How about you guys? How are y'all?
I am great. I can't complain. I found myself over the weekend in a city pretty closely affiliated with the sport. I'll just say I was in a certain city on the on-sale date of the Super Bowl of pro wrestling. I'll just say that.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Somebody was in Texas, apparently.
Apparently.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow, you got some miles on you this week, man.
Yeah, so-
Now, were you down there getting in line for tickets?
I was not. I was
Okay.
down there for something completely unrelated before people go, he's changing on us. No. No. I did want to head over there though, but I just ran out of time, man. Everything was so locked up. But I may be there that weekend. We'll see.
Because the rumors now are going to start that GB is doing some sort of secret project with WWE.
Oh man, listen. You know
What's
what? We know
happening?
how to get rumors started, right?
We do.
We listen. People have had rumors about us all year long. So
Well,
you
they
know,
don't know if they do know anything about GB. He is all things wrestling. So
this is true. This is true. You will find me at AEW. You will find me at WWE. You will find me, obviously, at SHW and
obviously.
any other indie promotion. I've been a few. You guys know. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We were just
Just
talking.
stay in the know.
We were talking about it. I ended up going last weekend after our show to the home of Mucha Lucha, where they
That's
were
right.
having a Championship Wrestling of Atlanta taping.
Yeah.
I know certain
Yeah.
people in SHW.
Is that facility not like awesome or what?
Oh, absolutely. And so GB and I had talked about, Diana, we know you've been there before, but we never had
Yeah.
before. And so
Yeah.
I've been wanting just to get there to see a show,
Yeah.
preferably a Mucha Lucha show, because I'll be honest, not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I just know the crowd at the show I did go to is nothing compared to a Mucha Lucha show, which
Right.
I've heard from Diana and multiple other sources that that's a straight up party, like an all day long party.
I
That's a
think Gary Lamb may have just put some extra special food to the side for you for that comment.
Right.
I
wondered
know how
about-
much he loves that promotion.
Well, and I
Yeah.
wondered about even bringing it up. I was like, oh, Gary's tuning out right now, but who
No.
Oh, he's tuning
Gary's-
in.
He's tuning in. Trust me.
He's probably got a comment coming up right about now.
Now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
but anyways, that was a fun show. A lot of SHW faces on there.
Mhm.
And but GB, I can't help but notice,
Uh-huh.
we were kind of chatting about this off air a little bit, but
Yeah.
when you first logged in, just behind your head there, I see
my Evil Uno shirt.
well, the Evil Uno shirt's
Yes.
cool,
Hey,
and I
that's
mentioned
pretty
that.
cool.
It is
It
very
is cool. It is
However,
very cool.
However,
There's hiding snacks somewhere.
behind your
back
head
Yeah.
there it is. That's,
Yeah, let me
from-
move the mic out of the way.
From Cheyenne the Sign Girl, who was a recent guest on the show. And we always talked about how she would make these cool signs for the wrestlers for
Yeah.
whatever particular show. I did not expect to see my face or your face or any of our faces on a sign.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, we show up for SHW33, and well, let's just say she was none too pleased with what you had to say after she signed off on the show the last time. And
She wasn't. You know, where I sit,
yeah,
she She's right behind me, her and her dad. And, you know, so I get a first view of all those signs, and it's like up close and it's awesome. But she made me aware that UGB are the new David.
Oh, really?
Is that right?
Buckle up. I don't know what she has in store for you, my friend, but I'm going to pray to God I stay on the good side of Cheyenne.
Boy,
Wow.
well, let me first say I was genuinely shocked that because, you know, usually after we finish the pre-show, they're usually in their seats and we are usually running frantic looking for people. And so, you know, it's no thing. I usually always speak to her and she's always very cordial. But this time she was like, her arms were folded and she had a mask. She had a mask on, but her eyes, I mean, they told a story. And I was like, what is wrong? And I really couldn't remember why she would be upset. I don't understand.
Well, because
why.
she wasn't on at the time of your comment.
Well,
so how would you know?
I had forgotten what I even said that would upset her. Now, here's what I know. You guys know me. I love to stay on people's good side, and usually that's not hard to do. But I had no idea that the support of the Queen would bring out just the anger and vitriol in some people. So, you know, I am sorry. I am sorry, Cheyenne. She even signed the sign that said, "Don't diss my signs anymore." And so I don't know that it was a diss of the sign as much as it was a support of the Queen. Now, I stand firm and fervent in my support of the Queen. And if loving the Queen is wrong, I don't want to be right. So I'll just tell you, Cheyenne, I am very sorry that I've upset you. But if you're now calling me the savior, then maybe I should give you more fodder for more signs. I don't know.
Savior. She didn't say savior.
I'm not the savior, but I mean, she put me in David category. David?
Well,
then again, he's going to be the wrestler of the year. So maybe that's not bad. I don't know.
I think you're giving her more content now.
Hey,
Here's my thing. You were the one that got the heat with her, yet I also ended up on the side.
Well, because you're the one that eats the snacks.
Drooling, holding a cupcake.
Well, it's not as if you hadn't been drooling eating a cupcake before.
Fair enough. However, I will say though, the artwork is phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. It is. It
I mean, at least you
amazing.
didn't have you holding a hot dog with your tongue out or something, making out.
Well, this is true.
It
now,
could have been worse.
If I could draw, I would attempt a sign for Cheyenne, but I know I can't draw, so I won't even
leave that to her.
I won't. Yeah, listen. I know my lane, and that's not my lane. So,
oh man.
But thank you, Cheyenne. I mean, you do rock.
She's
absolutely
amazing.
And here's the funny part. I didn't know that saying that would upset her, so I may not even be trying to end up on a sign next month. I don't know.
I'm kind of excited if you're taking the place of Dave. I'm looking forward.
That means she's going to be very creative.
Seeing month to month. I'm excited to see what she comes up with. This could get.
Well, let's see if we can give her something to talk about this.
I mean, we're already excited to see what she comes with month to month because all of her signs are fire. But
yes, they are.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so we will whirlwind see.
Well, I will tell you what, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. It's been a whirlwind.
It has.
We took last week off almost because I felt like I needed to have a breather just because of the crazy week prior.
You had a lot, sir.
It was first of all. They did it. They did it. Since the last time we've talked to you guys, the Atlanta Braves have gone on and won the World Series. How in the world?
And you was at the parade before SHW, so how was that?
Yeah, how was that?
It was fantastic. Here's the thing that I need to never, ever do again, and that is during a show week, an SHW show, blow my voice out 3 or 4 times leading up to the show.
Yeah.
I got through it, though, GB. You were there.
You did. You did very
I surprised
adrenaline
myself.
Jumped in, and you killed it, man.
But I was worried because, blowing it out at the stadium, And then going back to the stadium a couple days later and doing it again, and then going to the parade.
Wait, by the way, let's not blow past that. Like just everybody can go to the World Series. Sir.
Well,
Right?
here's
you
the thing.
went to the World Series to watch an actual game,
Yeah.
and
Bucket
then you
list.
went back to the World Series to watch them literally win the World
Win.
Series.
Yeah.
While that's amazing, dude.
What, let me just put I owe my big sister a big debt of gratitude because she was the one that got the tickets to game 3. So when they
Wow.
were in Atlanta, so Stephanie, shout out. She doesn't watch
Yes.
this, but I'm gonna give her a shout out anyway.
She might
Look,
for this.
Tiger.
Yeah, I'll let
Yeah.
her know. I'll let her know that she's on this. She got a shout out. But she bought the tickets for game 3. It was one of those once in a lifetime bucket list things. So she just,
Absolutely.
you know what? She threw down and got the tickets. I wasn't even expecting that, right? So I was happy watching on my couch at home. I
For
might
sure.
I thought about going down to the Battery because they were doing watch parties outside the stadium, but you could still be
Right.
in the atmosphere of the Battery. So anyway, she ended up getting tickets. And I was on a work trip in Miami. I was going to be getting home on Friday. She said, "Hey, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing
Right,
Friday
right.
night?" And I was like, "Well, I'll
Right.
just be getting back in town. I'll be watching the game on TV." She's like, "What do you want to go to the game?"
Yeah.
Like,
That's kind of crazy.
Gee, let me think.
Hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to go, and then Sunday, I went down there for another watch party when I thought they were going to clinch it. They did
Wow.
not, so they had to go back to Houston.
Yeah.
So then Tuesday, I went down there again where they had a watch party inside the stadium. And shout out to our SHW family, Kyle. He was down there with me. And
Yes.
Kyle's always behind the board back there with Rich Ward and Garrett running things behind the board at the SHW shows. But
Yeah.
he went down there with me, and we got to see him actually win it.
Wow.
And it was wild. And there was probably, maybe 12, 15,000 people in the stadium just for the watch party. So we're
Amazing.
watching on the big screen in center field. And
Yeah.
How amazing is that? That is
it
awesome.
was fun. It was fun. So it wasn't quite as cool as if they would have won it at home, but it was like the next best thing. It was right up
It is
there.
the next best thing.
So it was
Yeah.
very cool. And then at that point,
Wow.
they win it, and they say they're going to have a parade on Friday. And I know that that Friday is SHW33, but I'm like, all right, how can I maybe do both things here? And so
Yeah.
they had 2 portions of the parade. And if you're in the Atlanta area, you're probably aware of this, but they had part of it downtown. And then they had and then they took about an hour in between to travel up north. And then they did part of it in Cobb County. And then they ended inside the stadium and did a big presentation. And a lot of the players spoke. And some players ruffled some feathers with some comments, but we don't need to get into that. But it was cool.
Spicy.
They presented the trophy and all this kind of stuff. And it was really, really cool. So because we had SHW33, I did the early portion of the parade and took Marta downtown early. And we're right along Peachtree Street. And
Nice.
a lot of people were griping that at that portion that the cars and the buses were flying by. But I think that must have been towards the end of that part of the parade because we were right at towards the beginning, and they were just going at a snail's pace like a normal parade would go. So we got a good view of everybody. And I brought my actually this flag right behind me.
Oh, nice.
So I have a big pole, and I had that, and it was a good marker because we ended up running into a bunch of people I know. And so they would text me, "Hey, where are you?" Like, well, we're across from the Hooters, and I have a giant Braves flag, so look for the flag. And we ended up with a group of 10 of us or something down there. And
that's so cool.
My buddy Mark, shout out to Mark Owens. He works with me in my, as the wrestlers would say, in my shoot job. But he also is the big face you see on the big screen in between innings at the Braves games. And he's like playing the games with the fans and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And so he was in the parade. He's been doing it for 10 or 15 years. Like he's been there a while. He was in the parade, and it was crazy. So he was in one of the earlier buses, and they were like the buses without the top, right? And double deckers. And so he was on one of those. They have a group called the Heavy Hitters, which is like the big drum line that's always playing it's really cool, like a marching band drum line. And he was in the bus with them, and he's got a PA and a microphone, and he's talking to the crowd as they're going by. And in a sea of hundreds of thousands of people, we make dead eye contact, and he's like, "Redhead!" And I'm like, "Yes!" It was so crazy. And he's texting me afterwards, and he's like, "How in the world of thousands and thousands of people did we see each other?" And I'm like, "I don't know, dude, but it was pretty cool because we definitely made eye contact." And he gave me the shout out as he's cruising by.
That's way cool.
Bus. So, man, it was a wild night and then, or wild
Yeah.
day. And then, you know, I got home, changed clothes, got all my gear and booked it up to Canton to the Action
Amazing.
Building. So I was kind of wore out by the time the show started, but once you get going and
Yeah.
the adrenaline gets going, you get amped up, then you're
Absolutely.
in the zone. And so that brings us to
Yeah.
SHW33.
And
33.
this is an adventure. I love this type of stuff, man.
Yes.
And I hope that you guys appreciate Brandon getting to share that, because those are once in a lifetime types of things. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad that's his deal. He loves baseball. He loves the World Series. I'm like that about wrestling. Like my WrestleManias, I've been to a few of them.
Mhm.
Hopefully another one. So
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I get
But there
it.
we go. So SHW33, I mean, we were just talking, like, it feels like our timing gets so thrown off from month to month, right? Like, it
Right.
just feels like we have a show and then it takes forever for the next one to get here. Or then, or like, we just had this show last Friday? Or 2 Fridays ago?
Yeah, 2
Fridays.
Fridays ago. Yeah.
Whenever, but it feels like it was forever ago, you know? And
Yeah.
and then we did take the week off, so that's why my timing's thrown off here. But
All good.
it was an amazing show,
It
and
was.
I got to tell you, it was a shocking show, especially the way things left off at the end there.
Mhm.
But before we get to that, there's a tease for you. Before we get to that point, let's kind of go back and kind of run it down here, do a little recap if we can of how the night went.
Mhm.
So starting out, we had the kid, Kevin Ryan, or Brain Dead Kevin Ryan, as he's known these days, the inaugural SHW champion. And he took on somebody that was making their singles match debut in SHW. He's made a couple of brief appearances here and there. But Carly Bravo making his singles debut. And what'd you guys think? I thought Carly and Kevin both put on a great match to open the show.
Yeah.
And we've said before, GB, that Carly, I think, has every piece to make a great professional wrestler and to make it
Oh,
in this
yeah.
business. And so what'd you guys think?
I was really looking forward to this match. But one, because I know how good Kevin is, and two, because I've seen how good Carly can be, and I'm excited to see where he's headed. As you know, as far as Carly, I love his image. I love his gimmick or whatever. It's not really a gimmick because he is a veteran,
Yeah.
and that whole the flag and bad news tattoos. I mean, it suits him so well. I mean, he's such fun to watch. And then, you know, you have all of Kevin's aerial abilities, and it was quick.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed with Kevin and his attitude at the beginning of the show, but
Mhm.
it is what it is. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what Carly does and what's next for him, because he's definitely going to be a star there.
Yeah, you know
Mhm.
what's funny? I remember maybe a year or so ago. I shouldn't make that face. I remember like a year or so. I saw it. I was like,
It's funny
"Ugh."
because you can see yourself, and when you make faces,
Right.
you're like, oh,
Ugh.
what
Don't
am
do
I
that.
doing?
Diane's going to freeze frame that. She's going
There's-
to draw it.
That's the-
Right.
That's our thumbnail for the episode. What do you
Yeah.
Right. But you know, I remember us watching Ben Buchanan, and we were seeing him, and we were just like, this guy is a star.
Yeah.
And it really kind of didn't matter what his win-loss record is. He's a star. And you know, I thought that the very first time I saw Carly Bravo
Mhm.
is this guy is a star. He's got charisma. He's got
Mhm.
the it factor. He's somebody you want to come see no matter where he is on the card or what it is he's doing. He just has that thing, you know, it's kind of like the cool jock in high school that you want to know, because
Right.
he's just that guy. That's who he is. And, you know, it's one of those things where when it's authentic, it resonates. And so what I think is amazing is even though Kevin Ryan won the match, all of the conversation has been about Carly Bravo, which
Right.
speaks volumes. Bravo
Right.
dominated the match, you know, and think about it. To make your singles debut to open up an SHW show is very hard,
Mhm.
especially against a proven commodity like Kevin Ryan. So
Right.
I thought he was absolutely amazing. I definitely want to see him back in an SHW ring. And I just feel honored that we're getting to call these matches in the first year of Carly Bravo,
Yeah.
because if he
Because it
can
doesn't
stay,
feel like a year. Like the first
it
year doesn't feel like
doesn't.
the first.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird to say first year, but you know, the thing is, as long as he can stay injury free, let me tell you something. This guy is going to be international. I
Yeah.
guarantee it. So I'm excited, and I'm glad we get to call the first year of his matches because, you know, it's a special thing. It's a very, very
Right.
special thing for sure.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about two tag teams, right? So we had Ashton, Zicky Dice, and then
Mhm.
Kyle Matthews and Chip Day, Technical Excellence. These two teams have been feuding for the last couple months, right? The tag team belts have switched hands. Well, coming into the show, we heard that it's going to be two singles matches. We're going to get
Right.
Ashton Starr and Kyle Matthews, and we're going to get Zicky Dice and Chip Day, both of which were matches that, or singles matches in particular, that I never thought I would want to see until I heard that they were announced. I was like, wow, now I definitely want to see both of those matches. Well, first off, second match of the night, it was Ashton Starr versus Kyle Matthews. And both of these guys were kind of going back and forth a little bit on social media leading up to the show. Ashton in particular talking about how they had faced each other when Ashton first started in the business a number of years ago. And he
Mhm.
was looking forward to showing Kyle how far he's come and what he can do now. And despite the outcome of the match, I thought up to that point, they put on a great match.
Yeah.
And
It was great.
it was one of those where, and we say this all the time. I know some people might get tired of hearing us, but I don't care because it's true. Every SHW show, all of these matches probably could main event most other places. And this was one of those. I mean, Ashton and Kyle Matthews, I mean, what a match. Your thoughts?
Go ahead, B.
Oh, well, you know, I think it was incredible. You know, it was amazing to watch these two. First of all, you have Ashton Starr, who debuted a whole new look. Like, he's cut his hair, you know, he's gone all natural. He just had a whole new look and a new vibe, even though he still had his treacherous ways, right? And I guess I could get it, right? New vibe, because you get to walk into an SHW show as the actual champion, not with stolen goods, but you've actually won the title regardless of how you won it. And so it kind of seemed like a sure bet where, you know, he's walking in a champion. There's no worry about title defense in this match. So there's a different kind of swagger, and he had something completely different to prove. What he had to prove this time around was that he wasn't the same guy that Kyle Matthews faced many, many moons ago when Ashton was a rookie in this business. Ashton, I think, proved that by going toe-to-toe with Kyle. He started wrestling Kyle's style of match, and he certainly did better than he did 8 years ago, but Kyle Matthews is still Kyle Matthews.
Oh,
And
definitely.
Kyle, you know, we could call him MacGyver because he's going to always figure out how to get out of a crazy situation. And so
Right.
here it is. It seemed like he had it all figured out. And then Ashton went and did what Ashton does. He found a way to do what is honestly won him championships at this point. Cheat, steal, lie even. Shout out to Eddie Guerrero. He'd do any of those types of things to become a champion or to retain a title. And honestly, it's led him to a great record over the last year or so at SHW. So shout out to Ashton. We don't like how we did it, but it still looks like a win in the win column.
I agree. I personally love to watch Kyle wrestle because he is a wrestler's wrestler. You know what I'm saying? He's a technical wrestler all the time. He is the technical wrestler. He has an award named after him, for God's sakes. But to see Ashton hold his own wrestling, you know, before he decided to do his thing. But I mean, it was a great match just because it was going back and forth. It was kind of even, you know, to me, it was even. And I was really pulling for Kyle. I really was. But I don't know. I just had a gut feeling that those antics, as you said about Ashton, was just it's gonna show its evil little face, and even though he's got a new look and, you know, whatever, suave, but he's still Ashton. Right?
Oh yeah. Oh
He
yeah.
is.
Well, as I mentioned, Chip Day and Zicky Dice would go on to face each other in a singles match as well. But that was later on in the show, and I'll try to stick to the order that we went in. And we heard from a couple of people that I had no idea was even going to be there. They weren't booked to be there. But after the Ashton and Kyle match, we hear from Cruel, the Heathen
Mhm.
Cruel, and his mouthpiece, Brooklyn, as they made their way out to the ring to just cut a scathing promo on Dylan and everybody, basically. And then to everyone's surprise, we hear the music of the Rocker, Terry Lawler, who I think we said on commentary, GB, we hadn't heard that music since the Rumble Jack, and we're talking about the 2020 Rumble Jack, so it'd been quite a while. Now, granted, we did see him briefly at that show by the Tapped Out guys a couple months ago, but as far as SHW shows, we hadn't seen him in, over a year. And I had no clue what he was doing there. Now, there is a history of him and formerly known as Logan Creed. Logan Creed and Terry Lawler go way back. I think he even said it in the ring. They're like drinking buddies.
Yeah.
And, he was trying to get out there to almost have like an intervention of sorts, trying to figure out like,
Right.
hey, what's going on here?
What's
Where-
going on here?
where's
do
my
your line,
buddy?
Do your line. Do your
Hey,
line.
Come on, do it. No
Hey,
gimmick infringement.
Hey, what is going on here?
There it is.
Which, by the way, I did at a certain point with our buddy Zach when, again, I'll get to the Chip Day and Zicky match here
Yeah,
in a bit.
hold on.
Yeah. Because I totally was like, what? Anyways,
Hold
we'll
your
get to
fork. There
We'll
it
get to
is.
that. We'll get to that. But so yeah, you have Terry Lawler trying to figure out, hey, where's my old friend? Is he still in there somewhere? And well, it just didn't turn out too well for good old Terry Lawler. Now did it?
No, I commend his efforts though, because he was
Yeah.
really trying to pull Logan out of Cruel and kind of shake him back into reality of what's going on. And Brooklyn, she's got her monster on a leash. I mean, plain and simple. She's controlling Cruel. She has him on a leash, literally. And I don't think it set well with Terry, especially knowing Logan the way he knows him.
Yeah.
But
Or
again,
knew him.
or knew him, right? Logan,
Yeah.
not Cruel.
Yeah.
He doesn't know Cruel too well. Or the new Brooklyn. She's not even going by Brooklyn Creed anymore. She's just Brooklyn. So I guess the whole Creed thing is outdoor. But I mean, he made sense. I mean, he did what he could. He tried what he thought would work, and it backfired awfully on him. But it's always good to see Terry Lawler.
Yeah.
Always good to see a legend come out and even if he's trying to save somebody. But it was sad.
Yeah, Terry Lawler meant well, but I think we need to leave the interventions to Dr. Drew and Dr. Phil, because Terry, not exactly your thing. You meant well. But I think you have to understand. I mean, I can tell you, I have not known this guy nearly as long as Terry Lawler has, the Rocker. But you can look in Cruel's eyes and see Logan Creed is gone. He is not there. That is not the eyes that I see. And
it was hard enough to see Logan through Logan's eyes. It was already creepy.
This is true.
It's worse. It's dark.
Yeah. I mean, he went from being a heathen to, well, he's still a heathen, but with a completely different name. And yeah, it's not a good thing. And so Terry risked literal life and limb to try to reach his friend. And it didn't exactly work. So lesson to all of you, if you're trying to do an intervention, go get the people who are qualified. Otherwise, it might not go well for you. And so
there's safety in numbers.
There is safety in numbers. And he didn't have the numbers on his side at all.
No.
So,
Well,
yikes.
Zach was trying to help, but I had to hold Zach back.
Oh, thank you for holding Zach back, because you guys
damn.
just had a new table there. He didn't need to be one with that again. So
Right?
yeah.
Here's the thing, and they had already left Terry laying in the ring, and they were leaving.
Mhm.
And then
Yes.
Terry got up and got on the mic and said, "No, we're going to do this rocker style." And he wanted to have a match. That's what blew my mind. I was like, "What are you thinking?" I mean, you
Yeah.
got to give it up to the cojones of Terry
Well,
Lawler,
he's been around long enough. I'm sure he's faced some giants before.
I guess.
sure.
But
Well, facing giant is one thing. Facing a giant who was a part of a group called Fear, who already didn't care,
Right.
is another thing completely different. And if he would just really destroy Sunny Days the way he did, what would he do to somebody like Terry Lawler? Like,
Right.
so
well, we saw.
not the smart. Yeah, we saw exactly. And you'll get to see on IWTV, SHW33. Trust me, it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. And good old Zach on as Cruel was on his way out, and we could see from our table where Zach was hollering at him. I was thinking like, "Oh, Zach."
I'm trying to pull him back. I'm like, shut up.
I will say though, Zach's pretty light on his feet, but I don't know if I've ever seen him run that fast.
Oh my God.
When Cruel kind of made a quick move and Zach just darted to the other side of the ring.
Look, I was trying to put Zach behind me, and I reached back to pull him behind me, but he was not there. He was gone.
Yeah.
So of course I had to run after him because I wasn't about to take the place. So
God bless Zach. He's got a 350-pound spirit and a 92-pound body.
he does.
Zach, let me tell
Oh my
you.
God.
Listen, I know your heart is big, your spirit is strong,
God
but
loves that.
please don't put your body in harm's way like that, sir. Like,
Cruel is not the one to
not the one.
mess with.
No.
Not the one. No, sir. No,
Love
sir.
you,
Well,
Zach.
Yeah,
Stay
we
safe,
do.
baby.
Absolutely.
Please.
So
Thank God for the fans though, because the fans were like offering this comfort zone. It was like, come on.
Man.
I was like, just jump over the rail because they're going to catch you and keep you. So it was hilarious.
Well, coming out of that impromptu matchup, we had the number one contenders match for the SHW title between AC Mack, former champ, and Gunnar Miller, who I think to a lot of people's surprise has not been the champ to this point. And talk about another match that I didn't even know I wanted until I heard it was announced. And it was a really good match.
It was
Yeah,
a
it was.
really good match.
It ended in a way that none of us saw coming, by the
No.
way, with a distraction on the big screen by an interview from the Reverend Dan Wilson.
Who creeps me out.
On behalf of Tank, who Tank you'll remember from the
Also-
Rumblejack. Yes, Tank, if you recall, I'll never forget the visual of him putting the skewers in Nathan's head and Danny Only's head, but Nathan is the picture that is in my mind of those skewers. But anyways, so back to Gunnar and Mac. Prior to that happening, I thought it was a great match. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, it was completely just unexpected, but welcomed,
Yeah.
Like AC came out, did his thing, which is always a pleasure. Now that I'm on his good side, it's always a pleasure. Because it wasn't always a pleasure, but now it is. But yeah, he talked about he had to beef up. What was he, like 160, 265? I think was his weight this time. Whopping 265 because he knew he had Gunner, so he had to beef up, right? And rightfully so, because Gunner is nothing to play around with. What?
I almost want to have a scale backstage to because every now and then, because
It looks the same, right?
I'm like, I just want to know if he's legitimately. I don't know. I'm not saying he's not.
But between the Halloween candy and the Atlanta Braves World Series win,
Look, and they did have Thanksgiving dinner in the parking lot.
they did.
True. By the way,
Sure
shout out to Jeff
Jeff.
and Nadine, our people out there.
They're amazing. Good Lord.
Craziness.
Their food is incredible.
The turkey
Craziness.
Woo.
so good.
Stuffing, the mashed potatoes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
didn't even get a plate.
Sorry. I'm getting the meat sweats. So
I thought that I didn't get
man.
a plate. But
we gotta fix that next time. That's two shows in a row where you didn't get one. We gotta.
where was I? I mean, I was
I
there
don't know.
5 hours early.
Right. Imagine. Right. You're there 5 hours early and you still miss it.
And
That's
I didn't get a plate.
crazy.
You took my place. Like you got there when I normally would get there,
Right.
and I was running late.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But back to the
man.
match.
Yes, back to the match. So back to
Back
the
to the
beefed
match.
up AC Mac.
Yes, yes.
AC's beefed up, waiting for Gunner, and I mean, he held his own. I mean, how many spears did he take?
Right.
Absolutely. At least 3 that I remember.
I mean,
Yeah.
God, but it was a great match. I mean, they were really toe to toe for most of it, and then of course, like you said, the Revs, they gave me chills every time he speaks. Every time I see a promo of him, it gives me chills. It gives me that Zimbodi vibe. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be out there when they come, because I don't think he's going to be like Bodie and just rub his face all over us. I don't want no skewers in my head.
Let's hope that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
I'm climbing the rail.
Mm.
That's not happening. I'm not.
Mm-mm.
But
Mm-mm.
AC came away with a win. You know, he's number 1 contender now. So AC and Owen.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a story that writes itself, and I know we'll get a chance to tell that story for sure. But you know, again, AC Mack, Gunnar Miller, and I think, you know, one might argue that maybe Gunnar Miller was the favorite in this one, coming off the heels of retiring Corey Hollis at Still Here 3. You know, just a major thing now that, you know, I can see clearly now that Corey's gone, and that's the deal for you know, Gunnar Miller, and he could see clearly until a Tank showed up,
Right.
and I don't think any of us saw that coming. You know, when Tank's video played, it was like, wait, what? Why? So another obstacle in the way of Gunnar Miller, and so there's that. But for AC Mack, who's really not had a one-on-one title shot in quite some time, ever since really he lost the title. Yeah. So this is an opportunity for AC Mack, and you talk about a story that writes itself. I'm trying to save myself to that point, so I'll do my best. But AC Mack getting a shot at the SHW championship. Wow. Let's just say I'm going to have fun calling this one.
Yeah, it's going to be
Also,
a blast.
though, I think because Gunnar is clearly Gary's favorite to be beat all end all, you know, right?
Yes.
He's Gary's favorite, but has he done anything really besides retire Corey?
So Diana, here's the pot stirring that Diana's doing, and it's a statement that I didn't want to make, but since you went there, let's just say, oh God, I'm scared. I just felt fear jump all over me. But Gunnar Miller has yet to win the big one.
Right. But
he has gotten, let's remember, he has already had 2 title matches in SHW. He was the first title match against Joe Black, which we all just knew, holy cow, Gunnar Miller is going to walk away as the SHW champion. And he did not. He had a title match against David Ali, which we all just knew. Okay, Joe Black, superhero. Okay, David Ali, Gunnar Miller should go right through him. And David Ali defeated Gunnar Miller. So the real question now is, can Gunnar Miller win the big one? Can Gunnar Miller win the SHW championship? And now the question is, what does he have to do to prove that he deserves another shot? He's had 2.
Right, because he's had 2 shots, but it's almost like he knows, and this might be completely off, but it's almost like he knows he can get it anytime he really wants it. He didn't have to be distracted. I mean, he's a football player. He knows how to keep distractions at bay and keep your eye on the prize and stay to the game plan. But it's almost like he knows he can get it anytime, but he's taken us to that point and then just yanking it.
Or is there something else at work here? Because here's the thing in the pro wrestling business, right? There is never a time like the present.
Right.
Okay. So there can't be this, you know how sometimes I remember when concerts would come into town and I'd waffle, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't, you know, they'll be back next year. You know, they'll be back next year. You know, they'll be back next year. And then 2020 dealt us COVID. where we didn't know if we'd ever go to a concert again.
Exactly.
Right. And so our business was nearly taken away from us. And
Right.
so I just sit back and I say, you can have all the physical tools, right? And Gunnar Miller has that. You can have the support of the fans, and Gunnar Miller has that. You can retire one of the longest reigning SHW champions, and he's done that. You can have the boss in your pocket,
Right.
on your side. He's got all of the check marks that indicate that he should be the SHW champion, which then says the one thing that's stopping him is him.
Right.
And so the real question is, can Gunnar Miller get focused enough to become champion? It took him focus to get to and eventually beat Corey Hollis.
Right.
But he didn't have, he allowed himself to get distracted with Joe Black, you know, by the lynch mob. He got himself distracted when it came to David Ali. He got distracted with AC Mack. Can he focus long enough? And here's the thing. When you guys see this promo that Reverend Dan did, I'm automatically, if I had any power to submit something for promo of the year, it's one of the candidates, because he said a lot of scathing things about Gunnar Miller that happened to be true, which if we sum it up in a nutshell, he said, you can't win the big one. Whenever you get the big opportunity, you can't grab it. So this really now becomes a question of, can Gunnar Miller live up to what his potential is? And now he has to go through another obstacle in Tank. And that's too big of an obstacle to have to go through when you could already be champion by now.
That's my point. I feel like that he should already be champion, and everybody's expecting him to have already been or be soon. And I think one more shot and one more loss is going to be just like, oh, well, Gunnar's just going to blow it again. And the fans are just going to be, oh, he's just going to blow it again. But why? Why? I mean, like you said, he has all the tools. He has everything going for him. Everything's pushing it, except he gets distracted. Why?
Yeah.
Does he want it? Does he want the burden of the title? Does he want the burden
Diana.
Because it's not an easy thing to be. Champion is not easy. It's like, oh, I'm on top of the world. Everything's great. No, everybody wants you.
Here's the other thing, too. Like, it's almost like now that Corey's gone, has he felt like he's lost his purpose? Because with Corey around, he always had, you know, you have Batman and Joker.
Yes.
You have the Batman and Joker, and they're always around, but it's almost like they both need each other, you know, to have a purpose. And now that Corey's gone, I don't know, man. There's so much to unpack here. GB and Diana have both done a great job of unpacking some of it, but all I know is that Reverend Dan Wilson could not have picked a worse time, if you're Gunnar Miller, to bring up the fact that Gunnar eliminated Tank from the Rumble Jack, which was kind of one of the main reasons Tank is coming after Gunnar now. And
he did that hardcore match with Corey, so that's right up his alley. That's what he's looking for. So
so all I know is that
but I had visuals of spears and skewers in Gunnar, and I was wondering how that was going to work, because I can't picture it. But I don't know.
Yeah. All I know is Gunnar's got his hands full before he can even think about getting back into the title picture. He's got to go through Tank, and that is quite a beast to get past. And speaking of the next matchup, two beasts going one-on-one with each other. Wow. We've talked about it before. King Kong versus Godzilla. It was that type of match. Two behemoths, talking about Michael Judas, the priest of punishment, and the Chief, Austin Towers, going one-on-one. And, I mean, what an absolute slugfest. It was everything we expected it to be.
Yes.
And, I mean, it was quite a sight. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure if it's up yet, but if it's not, you need to check out IWTV. Check out every match on the show, but this match in particular, I don't know if it will live up to seeing it in person. You know, and it probably won't, because
you got to be there in person. I don't know what you guys are doing on Friday nights if you're not there, but
You
No.
got to be there. You got to be there. It's one of those things. And the other thing too was this match was in the middle of the card, and it worried me for a second because I thought, I don't know if the ring is going to hold up.
The
And
building. Did you not feel the building shake when they hit the mat?
And we still had like 3 or 4 matches after. So I thought, man, I hope this ring will hold up. So I don't know if YJ or whoever was helping.
I was looking for him. I was like, hey.
Maybe they put in extra support, and reinforce the ring a little bit, because these 2 big dudes, I mean, they were putting it all out there. And it was quite a spectacle. What'd you guys think?
It was. It was like we were all these little people and these big monsters towering over us. Who's going to bring the house down on our heads, because we want it. We want it. We want it. Crumble down on us. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Jeez. Michael Judas is, I'm telling you, something's in the works there. Something's coming.
Yeah.
He's getting tired of being in the background. He's about to come up. I'm telling you, it's time.
Yeah. There's a wonderful show that won several awards. It's called 20 Feet from Stardom. It's a show that talks about the life of the background vocalist and how they're literally 20 feet from whoever the star is. And a lot of times in music, and Diana, you definitely know this, the background vocalists can actually sing better than the superstars that they support.
They make them look good. They make them sound good.
They make them look amazing.
Yes.
And for the bulk of his SHW career, Michael Judas has been 20 feet from stardom.
Yes.
He has stood close enough to watch somebody else be great. He has supported him, and now he's really trying to prove I was the better singer all along.
Right.
What made this match so interesting is you had another guy who was living 20 feet from stardom. You had, the Chief, who was really primarily responsible for David Ali's title run. He was the muscle behind that. He was the one that was beating people up and causing all kinds of crazy things to happen. So these 2 guys were ready to step out of the background and into the spotlight. And I'll tell you something, both of them have done some incredible things, but Judas was really ready to say, it's my time, and no one's going to take it from me. And I don't know what proved it more, the match or the fact that he got on the mic after the match. We don't see that very often.
Nope.
And so it's like, when we saw that, it was like, everybody be quiet, because he has something to say.
That thunderous voice.
He frightens me. And so, I think he is on the road in SHW to finally do what perhaps some other places have seen him do. And now he gets to do it perhaps in the Pinnacle, which means there's going to be a real problem in SHW. But he might have a bit of a destroyer on his hands.
This is true.
A bit of a roadblock.
A bit of a roadblock.
So what's
boulder.
Yeah. What's crazy, GB, is that, and Diana, you can help me remember this as well. I don't think in the history of us doing this podcast, or in the history of us calling the SHW shows, I don't recall us ever necessarily saying anything negative about Judas, especially about his ability or anything like that. So it makes me wonder why every time he comes out there, he glares daggers at both of us at the commentary booth.
He's the priest of punishment.
And it is
he doesn't have to have a reason.
It's the most bone-chilling stare, because like we look around and there's really nowhere to like escape, and he's right there. And every time I'm just terrified when he comes out.
Stand in the ring, waiting for him to make his entrance as he walks to you, looking down 2 feet, because I'm way shorter than him. And you're thinking, please God, don't grab me.
Right.
Please God, just turn around and walk away, or let me scoot out, or just, you talk about being afraid of cruel, being all up in your face, but that's a mask. This is a man's face, and it gives you just as much terror.
Yeah.
Just as much. And his demeanor. And he's the prince of punishment. Priest of punishment. I mean, that's what he's there to do. He's there to punish you. He's there to tear you apart, and he does it every time. Honestly, I'm glad he's out from behind Corey, because he doesn't need all those underhanded antics to be great.
Yeah.
He has all that. I mean, he has the experience. He has everything that. I'm telling you, I would not be mad if he becomes champion one day soon. I mean, I'd be behind Judas. I mean, he'd be very hard to beat.
I don't know who could stop him.
I'm
But
telling you,
we mentioned the roadblock, the boulder,
the roadblock,
the destroyer. So we got a guy that's a Punisher going face to face with a guy that's a destroyer.
Good luck.
And I don't know who to pick in this, and I don't know that anything's officially been announced yet, but they sure did tee it up for a confrontation between these two. And we thought it was a big collision when it was Towers and Judas.
Right.
And now we're looking at Cyrus and Judas.
He's already broken the ring once, and multiple rings that I've seen. He's not just broken our. He's broken other.
Right.
And I don't know.
I don't know either, but I can't wait.
I can't wait either. You know, when I saw it happening, I'm like, oh boy.
It was one of those things where, like, so there's a GIF that everybody posts of. It's from The Office, where they're having it's like a fire drill or something, and Michael Scott's going around saying, "It's happening, all right, it's happening," and that's how I felt when I saw that happening in the ring. I was like, "Oh, it's happening! It's happening!"
Yeah.
And we had to get the guys. We had some of the folks from the back trying to come in, split them apart, and it was one of those things where. We're supposed to be professional at the commentary booth, but the fan in me is going, let them fight. Let them fight.
Right.
See this, man. Anyways.
So, I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Well, crazy. Yeah.
Moving on from there, we had the approved showed up again, and again, talk about people that weren't booked, that weren't on the schedule. So here they come out to the ring, and I'm thinking, well, they're not on my sheet. What are they doing here? Like they don't have a match. And
they weren't on my sheet either.
Yeah, and so they ended up calling out the best tag team that SHW had to offer, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, you have Technical Excellence. Who have already been out here tonight. You had Zicky and Ashton, who've already been out here tonight. All-Star Special, who to my knowledge, I didn't think were in the building. It turns out they were not in the building, at least not all of them. Right. And then we hear some familiar music. If you've been a fan of SHW for any length of time, you hear this music, and it's the music of the Georgia Avengers. Turns out we only got one Avenger. And then was it Hunter James was his tag team partner, and I don't know, nothing against those.
Huh? Which speaks volumes, because the approved wanted the best SHW had to offer, so we sent them half of a tag team and a single guy.
And I was going to say, this is nothing against those two individuals.
Nothing at all.
However. And I even may have said this on commentary, or at least off air to GB at one point. I was like, did the approved pay these guys to come out and play like they're so that way the approved can say, oh, we've beaten the best. And,
no, they were disappointed.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think, honestly, the approved came there for an actual fight. Think about it. Think about back to Still Here 3, where they took forever to come to the ring in a match.
All night.
I really think these guys are running scared. They're not exactly known for coming through the front door and challenging people face to face. Yeah. They came to SHW at Still Here 33, not Still Here 33, at SHW 33. So Still Here 33, right? Holy cow. At SHW 33, there it is. And they did that knowing All-Star Special wasn't in the building, right? Yeah. Knowing that the tag team champions were already obligated in singles matches against, of course, the former tag team champions. So what other tag team was there going to be? So I just think, again, they've proven nothing to me.
Right.
And, obviously they've not proven much to the SHW faithful either, because they haven't exactly endeared themselves
No.
to our family there. So this is interesting. Obviously, they got the win and they seem to be taking their sweet time. But it's what happened after the match
Yep.
that I'm still trying to process. Because, of course, if you haven't seen it yet, 1/3 of All-Star Special was there, being the manager, Logan Chase. And Logan Chase, he said that obviously they had mended their ways, and he reminded us that the Approved really didn't beat All-Star Special. Logan Chase beat All-Star Special. And then you guys have to help me with this, because it seemed as though Logan Chase,
he
on
did.
behalf of All-Star Special, challenged the Approved to a tag match, and he said if All-Star Special loses, he'll end his career.
He put his own career
He
on
put
the
his
line.
career on the line.
That's how confident.
I spoke to Logan about that.
What is that about?
To clarify myself, I wanted to know. I was like, what do you mean when you said you're going to put your career on the line? So you're putting your career on the line, much like you put your manager position on the line when it came to the Honor Society versus All-Star Special. This is how you came over to All-Star Special. You put your career on the line. I said, so what does this mean for you? And he's like, if my guys lose, I'm done with wrestling. I'm out. I'm done. And I'm like, but you're Logan Chase. How could you be done? He's like, my guys lose, I'm done. It almost broke my heart. I was like,
But
okay.
to me, it shows the confidence
Yes.
Yes.
that he knows that All-Star Special, because he said himself, if it wasn't for him throwing the powder, trying to hit the guy, was it Hawkins? I think he was trying to hit in the face, and he moved, and he ended up hitting Huck instead.
Right.
And so he owned up to it. It was his fault that All-Star Special lost that match a couple months ago.
He said he did not need those antics, but he used them in his old ways and cost him the match.
So I think he's fully confident, and I'm fully confident too that a healthy All-Star Special should be able to defeat a healthy Approved and just a fair one-on-one or 2-on-2 match.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I will say this. There are a few things obviously on the side of All-Star Special. All-Star Special has not lost to the same team twice in 2021.
Right.
Hasn't happened.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think it will happen with the Approved. But I think as a fan, as a member of the SHW team, I have PTSD. We just had a man put his career on the line that it just seemed like there's absolutely no way that this man is not going to continue in the sport of wrestling.
Right.
Matter of fact, 2 men put their careers on the line. 1 man had to lose.
Yeah.
So we have a scenario now where we could have a manager. I just don't think this is how the story of Logan Chase ends. Not at the hands of the Approved.
Please.
If you're going to lose your career, there are much better men for you to lose your career to. And so if I'm All-Star Special, that adds a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, they should be highly upset about the Approved, but that adds pressure. I think they'll handle pressure well. I go back to the tag title match. They handled that pressure well, but it was the Approved that cost them the tag title match when they attacked Logan Chase. There's always been the Approved poking their fingers in what All-Star Special has been doing. So with that said, I think All-Star Special, they have pressure, but they also have a lot of reason to do a lot of damage the next time they see the Approved. And so I think the Approved is finally going to get what's coming to them. For Logan Chase, for All-Star Special, for SHW, let it be done.
Well, let's hope so.
Amen.
Let's hope so.
So saith GB. Yes.
There it is. Put that on a sign.
There
That's
you go.
right.
I don't think she's going to do that. But
No, she's not going to do
that's
that.
way too
Of
positive.
course she's not.
That's way too
Wait,
positive.
exactly. I got to give her something to work with here.
Right. Moving
In
down.
fact, let me take a
Uh-oh.
second right now.
Okay.
Oh no.
Let me take a second right now. So, Cheyenne and the rest of SHW, who seem to fight me on the presence of our true queen, I have 4 words for you. Where was your queen? Where was she? She allegedly won the match, which was still very controversial. She didn't show up for a coronation. Where was she? I know where she was. Let me tell you where she was. She was honestly recognizing, see what I did there, the fact that she's not the true queen because she won under horrible circumstances. So to that I say, where's your queen? Carry on with the show.
Okay. All right. So moving on. Yeah, I'm not touching any of that. The next match on the card, Chip Day, Zicky Dice. I touched on it earlier. This was the other match where half the tag team champions, Zicky Dice, taking on half of the former tag team champions, Chip Day. Now this was interesting. The beginning of the match, and I don't even know how it happened. It just happened in the blink of an eye, and then
I have no idea.
the point where I said, hey, what is going on here? Because all of a sudden, I see Chip Day say, I'm going to tag Zach in the match. And I think Zach kind of high-fived him, not knowing what it was. So he went to take the gear up the ramp, and Chip's going, no, I just tagged you in. Next thing I know, Zach comes rolling back in the ring.
Oh my God.
Second, certainly, this isn't about to happen.
Right.
But before anything too crazy happened, Zach quickly tagged himself back out, and went.
He's a smart man.
Yes.
He's a smart man.
Yes, because I've been in the ring with Zicky Dice, not in a match, but I would
Those
tell you,
cupcakes were on
When
the
you
line.
stole his cupcakes.
well, first of all, I didn't know they were his.
And they were not hidden in a certain man bun. Thank you very much. Just to be clear. I know I have a lot of hair, but they were not in there.
They were just at the table. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. But what my point was, and it's intimidating to be in the ring face to face with Zicky Dice. Whether you like him or not, he's a great wrestler.
He can be intimidating.
He's one half of the tag team champions, for crying out loud. So it's very intimidating being across from him. So I understand where Zach would quickly tag back out. And in my situation, luckily for me, it was Chip and Kyle that came to my rescue that evening a couple months ago. So anyways, we have Chip Day, Zicky Dice. Now, this was a match that our general manager prior to the show on social media had said numerous times this was going to be his call for match of the night. And I think it very well could have been. However, much like the Ashton match earlier in the night, some dirty tactics. In this case, Ashton comes out, uses one of the title belts to clock Chip Day, if I'm not mistaken, and Zicky ends up getting the win. But it was what happened when they were leaving the ring, when, speaking of the general manager, coming out and making a snap decision that kind of blew all of our minds. First of all, what were y'all's thoughts on the match? And then what were your thoughts of when Gary made that decision afterwards? What'd you think?
Chip is one of my favorites as well. I already said that about Kyle, but I love to watch Chip and Kyle together. But them separate and doing singles, he's one of my favorites. He's just fun to watch. I mean, who would have thought he could do some of the things that he does, really? I mean, I didn't know him before he came to SHW after COVID. And we talked about that. I didn't really know a whole lot about Chip.
Yeah.
I just knew his name. Okay. So I knew who he was, but whatever. He's pretty amazing, right? And then you have Zicky, who's outlandish.
He is.
He's Zicky Dice. I mean, everything about the man. You can't not watch him. I mean, he's like a flash of light everywhere. Anyway, I mean, he's like, what was that? Oh yeah, that was Zicky. I mean, he's
Mhm.
going to stand out regardless.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
them together was awesome until Ashton came down and did his thing. But Chip had him. Chip had him. He did. Chip had him. I mean, Chip is the technical wrestler of the year, right? Last year.
I think he
Mhm.
did too. Otherwise, Ashton
Yeah.
wouldn't have had to get involved.
Exactly. So when Gary came out to raise a little hell, that was pretty awesome. I mean, it was needed, and God forbid he come out with his flip flops and his hoodie, and he was off. Okay, for those of you who did not know, Gary was off that night. He didn't do his promo like he usually does. He didn't make himself known like he usually does. He was taking the night off. He'd been working all month. He was tired. He had festivals. He had things going on. He was taking the night off. But this took the cake. Not your cake, Brandon, but cake.
Did somebody say
Very
cake?
nice.
Did somebody say cake? Where?
He had
Community
enough.
cake.
He had to step in. He had to do his general manager stuff, and he had to fix this situation. And
Mhm.
God love Gary for pulling this one off. Because hey,
Well, let's just say this. I guess Gary only had one fix in him for the night, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
there you go.
But, the match itself, I thought was a fantastic match. Again, I think what technical excellence brings out in all of their opponents is they take their opponents to another level where we get to see sides of them that we didn't know existed. Ashton had to wrestle a fairly technical match against Kyle Matthews. Same thing for Zicky Dice, two very different styles, but Zicky Dice was finding a way to hang, of course, with Chip Day. Chip Day just kicks it into another gear. But
Yeah.
the thing about Zicky Dice, which is crazy, is you never know where his trickery is going to come from. We've seen him
Right.
do literal magic tricks in the ring. Like, he can do almost anything. And this time, his magic tricks was his tag partner, Ashton Starr. I mean, they sometimes can be a bit of overkill, But for me, I'm just like, this is just a little bit, The crazy part about it is it seemed as though they had gotten over. Both of them had won their singles matches, which in my mind said there wouldn't be an opportunity for Tech X to get a rematch. They both lost individual singles matches. And so it seemed like Ashton's plan to leave the night with the championships would happen. And then comes Gary. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, aren't you glad though? I mean,
Well, it gave us another surprise that we did not expect.
So we
That's
get
for sure.
we get an impromptu tag team title match, which
Yeah.
which didn't last very long, and it ended
Sure didn't. Mhm.
with Tech X becoming two-time tag team champions. Now the
the
most
first two-time tag team champions.
absolutely,
Correct.
and to me the most interesting thing about this was, and GB, I believe you pointed this out on commentary, was that it just goes to show that Ashton still has not been able to successfully defend a title, because when he
Mhm.
won the SHW title
Mm-hmm.
over a year ago, when was that? February of 2020,
2020, yes.
I believe, and
It
he won
was.
it in the very same night. He
Mhm.
defended it and lost it back to Corey Hollis,
Correct.
so he couldn't even last one title defense. Now
Mm.
he's won the tag team titles at the last show.
Mm-hmm.
And on the very first title defense, which here's the thing, he and Zicky both, I think, thought they were in the clear,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
thinking, hey, our reign is going to at least last 2 months because we
Mhm.
don't
yeah.
even have to defend the titles here tonight at SHW33
Right. We have singles matches. Yeah.
until Gary made that snap decision towards the end of the show. Hey, by the way, I'm sick of all this fooling around. You guys
Mhm.
cheating to win. And you know what? You're both out here. They're both out here. You got the titles. You're going to defend them right now. and there you have it. And so now Ashton, unfortunately for him, will go down in the record books as somebody who is unable to defend, to have a title defense,
Mhm.
right? I mean, how crazy is that for him? We talk about how talented he is, and he is. I give him all the credit in the world.
Mhm.
but that's quite a blemish on your record to
Yeah.
not be able to defend the SHW title and then now not be able to defend the tag title. I mean,
Like, can you can become champion, but can you remain champion?
and part of me, it's like earlier you talked about, I don't remember who you were talking about, where you said you almost kind of feel bad for him, but then you're like, nah, it's Ashton. He's always mean to us. Like, why would you feel bad?
Yeah,
But I
Ashton.
almost do.
Well, I do want to point out that it was B-Dub who first mentioned this on the podcast today. It wasn't me. Just want to point that out. With that said, all right, since the door has already been opened,
Look at-
Ashton, he made such a big deal about being champion. And I get it, right? 28 days is 28 days longer than he held the SHW championship. I get it.
27 days.
Yeah,
27.
I mean, it's 28 days, 27 days. On top of
24,
that,
23.
I think he set the whole Todd scheme up to be able to have a scenario where he didn't have to defend the tag team championships. What better way to ensure that you come in and leave with the titles by not having to defend them, right? Right. So when we talked about Gunnar Miller not being able to win the big one, Ashton can't keep the big one. So I just say, Ashton, yes, you cut your hair. Yes, you've done all these super cool things, but can you keep a title? Can you defend a title? You've made
Well,
history, though. You are the second man to hold both the SHW singles titles and the SHW tag team championship. So kudos to you. You also made history for having the quickest SHW title reign and the quickest SHW tag team title reign. So history belongs to you, sir. Congratulations.
All right, there's something.
Whew.
There it is.
God bless him.
There is something. Speaking of somebody who's held the title twice,
Twice.
one being Corey Hollis, one being Ashton Starr,
Mhm.
and somebody who was looking to hold it twice. Wait. No, I just confused myself.
You're confusing
I'm
me.
just waiting
Yeah.
to see where you're going.
I was trying to make a connection here of Joe Black potentially holding the
Mhm.
title twice.
Yes. Got you.
But then I was like, well, no,
Gotcha.
Ashton technically didn't have the main belt twice. He has had two separate titles. But anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
He
been
was
one of the
looking to
few-
become a two-time champion.
Yes.
That's
Right.
what you're trying to say.
And in this
one of the few
case,
people.
Joe Black looking to become a two-time champion. In the
Mhm.
main event, I'll get there.
That's okay.
It's been a long show. We're covering a lot here.
What's in that water bottle?
Now that's the question.
Where are my cupcakes? I heard somebody say
See, there it is. There it
He needs
is.
some sugar.
Joe
Yes.
Black.
Pour
Owen
some
Knight.
on him. Yeah, sorry.
Hey, I'm no Logan Chase. I can't pull that off. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go back and watch the last show.
And wait, if you do it next show, it'll be with a bald head. So
Right?
yeah.
I'll get to that once we wrap up
Yes.
here. I'll get
Yeah,
to
we
that.
gotta talk about that.
Yes.
Anyways, Joe Black, Owen Knight. Owen Knight with his first title defense here in
Mhm.
SHW33. And what a way to have to defend your title for the first time against none other than Joe Black. I mean, this match, it was said ahead of time that this was going to be a 30-minute time limit.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I knew that both of them were capable of going that length, that amount of time. I just wasn't necessarily expecting them to go that amount of time. But as the match kept going and going and going, I had no idea like who had the upper hand here. It was so evenly matched up throughout the whole thing, and
Yeah.
sure enough, it ended up going that 30 minutes. But what an amazing match, and I'm throwing it in for match of the year myself.
It was great.
It was incredible, and it was
Mhm.
it was interesting because there was like different phases of the match. You know, it
Mhm.
was like started out technical, a little catch as catch can, a little
Mhm.
chain wrestling. Then they got outside and they did the brawling, and then there were it was just different things throughout the match, and it was like it wasn't one particular style,
Mhm.
which was just very cool to see. It was I was privileged to be able to be there in person and not only call the match, but just to be there and watch it live was really cool. And definitely check that one out on IW. Check out the whole show on IWTV, obviously,
Yeah.
but that match was pretty incredible. And I think obviously what everybody took away from the show was how everything ended. That's what really shocked everybody. And I'll let you guys get to that point, but your thoughts on the match before that, though.
Joe, we know what Joe can do. We've seen Joe go crazy physical limits with Huckabee in that match of the year. Was it 19? Was it 19? And God, the things that he went through and things that he did to Huckabee was 2020 was he became not just Joe. You know, he has all the cosplay and he's the cool superhero type, but he can be ruthless. He can be just, you know, I'm not gonna say vindictive because he's Joe and everybody loves Joe and Joe's gonna kill you, but he's not a pushover. He can do anything, any type of match, anyway, with anybody, hang, dish it out. If you want to go hardcore, Joe's straight hardcore. If you want to wrestle, Joe wrestles. If you want to go crazy outside the ring and use whatever's there, you know, whatever, Joe can do it all. Joe is a true champion. He is a true champion. I always enjoy to see Joe do his thing. Owen, I have a connection with Owen because Owen was my first match I called. He was my first announcing match at SHW. So I have a connection there. I love Owen. I do. Georgia has slept on him for so long. To have him as our champion right now, it feels like everything's full circle for him. You know, it's like it's there. He's the champion. And he wrestled like a champion. He took on Joe Black like a champion for 30 plus minutes and gave his all. I'm proud. I mean, I could have been happy either way. Joe's awesome. I hate that he had to give the title due to injury. I mean, he's due to be champion for a long time. But Owen, today, Owen is champion. Owen is our champion. And I couldn't be prouder. He kicked ass that night. He gave everything, anything that you would think that you want an SHW champion to be. Owen Knight was that.
Yeah, you know, one of the things we said at the top of the show, I'm a wrestling guy, right? So it made me think about New Japan Pro Wrestling during the G1. Me, you know, I know. I know they say there are snacks in here, but you know, it's wrestling.
I haven't seen you pull a Twizzler out yet.
Well, it's hard. Try pulling anything out of here, okay? I mean, it's an let me just tell you really quickly. When I go flying, this is an automatic magnet to get patted down. I promise you. It's quite amazing. Be that as it may, I'm a big fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling. G1 Climax has a 30-minute time limit for a lot of these matches. And, you know, as wrestling fans, when you hear the time limit, you don't actually think the match it's a formality. It's like when you say it's for one fall. It's a formality, right? And so I've seen matches in New Japan where they have 5 minutes left. They have 2 minutes left, and it doesn't go the distance. Somebody taps out. Somebody gets pinned. It's not the time limit. Here with this match, I didn't know how this was going to go, but I did think, man, this is an insane test for Owen Knight, right? Like, you know, obviously he had his first title match at the Fright Night situation, vanquished David Ali, but now you're at the home turf, right? When you could pick anybody, you pick Joe Black? What? Like, it's crazy. So in that match, I think you're right. For anybody who had spent time overlooking Joe Black, and I don't know what's gotten into me today. Maybe it's just me and wrestling today, but I just feel some kind of way. So I'm going to say this. I remember hearing some of the pundits here in this state of Georgia say that Owen Knight, if he's been overlooked, what he needs to do is show why he shouldn't be overlooked. He needs to put in the work. He needs to put in the time. I invited said pundit to come to SHW and watch Owen Knight do his thing. I'd be really intrigued to see what said pundit would have to say now that Owen Knight is the man of the top promotion in this state. And if you don't believe he should be the man, go back and watch this match. This match proved beyond a shadow of a doubt why Owen Knight is the SHW champion. He defeated the 2020 Wrestler of the Year and beat him clean in over 30 minutes. So let's throw this whole idea and notion away that he's overlooked. He's no longer overlooked. How much more does Owen Knight have to do to prove to you that he's not overlooked? He's already proven it. So with that said, he showed us why this is the top belt in independent wrestling. He showed us why this is the top promotion in this sport for a simple reason. These guys had no gimmicks. They had a downright amazing match. There was no anger or animosity between the two. There didn't have to be some big build in terms of a story. It's two guys who love this business, who love this company, who love the title, fighting for this prize. And what a match. They delivered. And they proved that the SHW fan base, they can go as long as you want to take them. You had kids standing for 30 minutes. You had grown adults standing for 30 minutes. They were all begging for 5 more minutes.
Yeah, they were not going to settle for that time limit draw.
Nobody left. It was a special moment. And so for me, regardless of the outcome, this match was special for so many reasons. It showed many sides of Joe Black. It showed many sides of Owen Knight. Both of them are worthy champions, to be perfectly honest with you. Owen Knight pulled it out, and he wanted it more, and he became the champ, and he retained the championship. But yeah, I couldn't be more proud of the job that Owen Knight did in defending that championship. This is the kind of performance that we look for from champions. It's the stuff that made Ric Flair great. It's the stuff that made Ricky Steamboat great. It's the stuff that made Harley Race great. It's the stuff that makes Owen Knight great. Put some respect on his name. He is your SHW champion.
There you go.
And I'm really glad you kind of recapped that as eloquently as you did, because unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people that were there that night didn't walk away immediately thinking, what an amazing 30-minute match I just saw. Unfortunately, what they went away thinking was, what did we just see? Joe Black has lost his mind and snapped. Because after the match, he did. He completely snapped, and he attacked Owen Knight and he was shouting at the fans at ringside. It was like a side of Joe Black that I don't know that we've seen, at least in a few years, since he's been in SHW. You know, maybe early on he showed a little hint of that side, but since then he's been a fan favorite, and the crowds absolutely loved Joe Black. And then at the end of the match, man, he just snapped. You know, earlier I mentioned how GB sitting at the commentary table when Judas comes out and he gives us that look. Describe how you and I both felt at the end of the night. Joe Black had completely snapped, gone off the deep end, and he came and stood right by us, and he glared at us, and I was almost speechless. Like, I didn't know what to say. It scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, so, you know, when Judas stares at you, he's an overwhelming presence because he's 7 feet tall, and that brings intimidation. Joe's not 7 feet tall, but there's an intensity in the eyes of Joe Black where you will pay attention. And the level of intensity that I saw that night in that moment gives me chills now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, I thought to myself, if I were to say anything right now, he would knock my head off.
Yeah.
He would legit knock my head off. And I was just like, I literally said, I have nothing to say. We are good. No. Now, I will say this. He's frustrated.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I understand why he's frustrated. Here's a guy who, again, won the championship on a bad wheel, defended the
Mhm.
title on a bad wheel, probably caused the injury to be worse by continuing to uphold the SHW banner. You know, he gets back and gets somewhat cheated in his match against David Ali for the
Mhm.
championship. He should really get a one-on-one fair fight and then ends up in the war chamber against 5 other men. And then he wrestles this 30-minute time limit draw and can't get the general manager to come out and give him 5 more minutes. And he flat out said, I nearly ended my career for this company. The least you can do is give me 5 more minutes.
Mhm.
Gary didn't show up to give him 5 more minutes. And so naturally, by the time the decision was made, his adrenaline was off. He was thrown off his game, and he got wrapped up in less than 60 seconds, which nobody saw coming. You know, so if you think, you know, if you're told, hey, whenever you want a shot at this title after this injury, you just name the time and place and you get it, and then it's not given to you fairly, and now you've got to watch somebody else carry the banner that you worked so hard to carry, it would breed frustration. And I
Right.
think that frustration all boiled up, and nobody's safe now.
Mm-mm.
Nobody's safe. This
Nobody.
version of Joe Black is the scariest version of Joe Black we've ever seen.
Right. Right. Totally. I mean, I don't know what he has or if they have anything in store for him next month, but whoever it is, whoever his next opponent is,
And let me add fuel to that fire, because next month's show will mark the 1-year anniversary of Joe Black having to give up the SHW championship.
right.
So God have mercy on the soul that he may face, or if he's even in the building, because eek.
Yeah, I do not envy that person because
Can we get that plexiglass we talked about?
yeah,
I mean,
You know, I mean, he might break that down, but at least there's some wall of defense.
the coal mine.
Listen, call it. I don't know what
we need to come
call
up
it.
with our own name. Is that what you're talking about? Like the Michael Cole?
It's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
We need
you
our
know,
own. We'll come up with a clever
Don't
name.
put us on the stage because he could throw us off the stage.
Like,
Right.
No.
as silly as this sounds, in that moment, like I contemplated hiding under the table.
No,
no,
seriously.
that doesn't sound silly at all. But don't get under the
Seriously.
table because the table will crash down on top of you.
That's
You got to
true.
jump the rail. I've worn my shoes where I could jump a freaking rail now.
That's
So
a smart move.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I looked around, we made eye contact briefly, and I just
It was scary.
up and down my spine, just chills. Like, oh, stay away
Yeah.
from this guy.
Absolutely.
He was in some sort of mood. I tell you what. But
It was a moment where you feel like you know you're kind of safe with Joe because you're in a good place with Joe. But at that moment, that particular moment,
no one was safe.
nobody was
No
safe.
one. No one.
Yeah, I was thinking that, afterwards. I was like, before the show, we see each other backstage, say hello. He's very cordial, very polite, very soft-spoken, and because he's kind of getting mentally prepared. And then once he gets in that zone.
But, the thing about Joe Black is he's always had a level of intensity that he really tries to harness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really tries to keep it controlled. And I think that's one of the reasons why he is so soft-spoken. It's kind of like, you're trying to keep Pandora's box closed.
Yeah.
But it's open, and I'm scared. I'm very, very scared.
And that crowd, the crowd was stunned. We, of course,
Yes.
were stunned. It was just it was a very odd way to end the show, like of what was otherwise a really great show. And then to end it that way just really kind of threw everybody in a weird, like, what did we just see?
What other match do you remember where the crowd was so for both competitors? I mean, to the point where they were mixing their names.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because they were like, both these guys. I heard that twice that night. Both these guys, because both these guys, right?
Yeah.
So,
recently, this past weekend, you had Full Gear, AEW Full Gear, and you had Punk versus Eddie Kingston comes to mind, where you're getting kind of the mixed 50-50 back and forth crowd. It was kind of reminiscent to me of Joe and Owen because the crowd was
Yeah.
so for both guys. But anyways, it was a wild night. The crowd was super hype all night as always, and they brought it. So that was awesome. It was just an amazing show.
Love our crowd.
It ended on such a I don't even want to say sour note because I don't want to make it sound like it ended badly, but it did. It was almost just a weird ending. You know what I mean? Everybody was so hype all night, and then just
unexpected, like
a
what?
shocking ending. Just really kind
Yeah.
of threw everybody off. But anyways,
That's what makes us great.
I know. It just gets us excited for the next one, which, by the way, is not going to be the first Friday. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's December 10th, right?
Correct.
So it'll be the second Friday, and we hope to see you there. It'll be SHW33. And, of course, in the coming weeks, we'll be giving you match announcements and all that good stuff and previewing that upcoming show. But, of course, we also –
But tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
You so read my mind, Diana. I said that literally in my head. Wow.
So let's talk about this. And I thought about bringing it up early on, but then we started talking World Series. But you know what? Let's talk about it now. I'm glad you guys reminded me. So
take your hat off because it's the last time
yeah.
we're going to see it like this for a while.
There you go. So I've still got, a little bit
Wow.
got
a lot of hair.
I got nice hat hair going on right now. But so people that have been around SHW since the beginning know that every year I participate in this organization called St. Baldrick's Foundation. And every year in March, typically, we'll have an event, a big head shaving event at a sports bar. We've been doing it at Sports and Social in the Battery the last couple years. So we raise money for childhood cancer research, and the participants shave their head in solidarity with the kids that lose their hair during cancer treatment. And it's always a great, fun event, and we always have a great time, raise a lot of money, and it's just a great cause. And I've been doing it since 2008. So I guess this will be coming up on 14 years, 13, 14 years, whatever it is. And so whether it's been just participating or over the last 3 or 4 years actually hosting the events, and just it's near and dear to my heart, this organization. So last year, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we literally had our event scheduled. I think the world shut down like on March 13th or something like that. And our event was scheduled for like 5 days later or something. And so we had to cancel it like the week before, and the world shut down. So you understand why. Well, then this year, we didn't even have the event because we still weren't able to have it this past March. So I'm on Facebook the other day, and they're like, hey, your birthday's coming up. Would you like to raise money? And so I'm like, okay. And one of the foundations you could raise money for was the St. Baldrick's Foundation. And I thought to myself, you know what? My birthday's coming up. This will be like a birthday fundraiser. I was unable to do it back in March of this year. This was going to be the first year in like 14 years that I wouldn't have raised money and shaved my head. So I was like, the streak is going to be broken, like, so I was able to do this, and I decided, you know what? It was only a week out from my birthday, but I was like, if I can raise $500 by next Wednesday, this was last week when I said this, then if I can raise it by my birthday, which is Wednesday, I will have my head shaved on Facebook Live on video for everybody to see. And, it got to be Sunday, this past Sunday, and I was still like $400 away. And I thought, you know what? I might.
That much on Sunday.
Yeah, I think I had like 105 out of 500. And I thought to myself, you know what? I may get out of this thing without having to shave my head. I'll still raise a lot of money, but I may not end up having to shave my head, which I don't mind shaving my head. I've been doing it every year since 2008, right? So
I didn't know that you did that every year. I didn't know that you shaved it every year.
Well, so here's the thing. When I first started SHW, we weren't doing the suits and everything. I was still wearing ball caps, right? So I did it that year, but I was always wearing a hat. So no, I don't think anybody realized I shaved my head. Then last year, because we were in the pandemic lockdown, we weren't having any shows for 5 or 6 months. So I did shave my head virtually last year. We did a virtual shaving because we couldn't have our event. But I don't think a ton of people saw me because we were all on lockdown. We were all in quarantine. So nobody really saw me then. So I think this time a lot of the SHW fans got excited. So they're like, oh, he's going to shave his head on Facebook Live. I think a lot of people are kind of interested to see, like, what does this guy look like with no hair? You know, it's kind of
Right.
like we saw Hanson not too long ago at that Tapped Out show get his head shaved, and everybody's like, "Whoa, what?" You know, you're seeing the long hair and stuff. So, anyways, so this was Sunday, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm still a ways off here. And then next thing I know, I checked the thing Monday morning, and I'm at like 480 out of 500. I'm like, whoa, how'd that happen in like a few hours? And then so I posted Monday, and I was like, well, I'm $20 away. It looks like we'll probably make it. And by an hour after that post, we were at like 600 out of 500. So we've gone beyond the goal, which I'm so thankful for. So thank you to everybody out there. You know who you are, Diana. And here's the thing. I'm going to go live tomorrow. As this is airing Friday, I'm going to go live tomorrow. And if I haven't announced it yet on my social media, I think I did. I'll be sure to promote what time it's going to be, but it'll be sometime Saturday afternoon. And I'll go on Facebook Live. And I'll give everybody individual shout-outs on there that donated, because I appreciate all of you, and you guys came through big. It was only a 1 week little time crunch thing, and I was like, we'll see what we can get. If it works out, great.
Yeah,
If
but the
not,
reward for everyone to see you shave your head.
well, there you go.
is-
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I could. I couldn't.
You would look beautiful with a shaved head, just so you know.
I wouldn't.
I'm sure
I'd be
you do.
wigging that
Trust
junk.
me.
I would be. Somebody buy me a
GB,
wig.
You'd be
Gee,
surprised. Once you do it, it's like kind of like
No.
Then you
You
get
all
used to it.
forget. I remember what I looked like before I had all this hair. Trust
I
me.
would be afraid that my head might be lumpy or something.
Mine is. Just telling you.
I mean, because you don't know if you have a nice, smooth, round head until you actually are bald. So, I mean,
So-
if I don't have to, I'm not gonna.
My buddy Lewis, who he's done this prior with me in the past. He's a DJ in Atlanta, or used to be when 99X was still around. But he used to do some of these events with me, and I finally got him to shave his head one time. Out of the numerous years that he helped me host it, he only shaved one time. He's kind of got a curly-haired fro, and he
Right.
finally did it. And he's always like, "I don't want to do it, man. My head looks like a street map." Like he's like, because he said
See?
he grew up
He's
being
got wrinkles.
he grew up being a skateboarder, and so he's got all kinds of cuts and weird scars and all
no.
kinds of stuff on his head. So he'd
Oh,
always be like,
no.
"No, man, it's like a road map. You don't want to shave my head." But I got him to do it one year finally, and it was a little rough looking. But anyways, that's my boy Lewis. He doesn't watch this either, but I'll tell him that he just got a shout out for calling him out for his roadmap head. But
Yeah.
anyways, we are going way over time here.
Awesome.
We're going way over time, but it was a great episode. We wanted to do a big full recap of SHW33. I also wanted to thank all the fans that donated, and we reached the goal. And it's a great organization, St. Baldrick's Foundation. The reason it's called St. Baldrick's is because, again, we have it every year in March, right around St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
And that's why it's St. Baldrick's, bald, shave your head. But yes, we're in November, and we're doing a St. Baldrick's thing. So at least I was
So
able to
on
get
a
it in.
no shave November, you're gonna shave your head.
I know, right? I went the
Right.
other way. I I was just trying to get in a St. Baldrick's event before the end of the year, so
Yeah,
that way
that's awesome.
Sure.
the
That's awesome.
streak lives on. And
Do that, Steve.
and honestly, I just happened to get on Facebook, and I didn't even know that was a thing where like you can log in, and I guess around your birthday it prompts you, "Hey, would you
Yeah.
like to do a birthday fundraiser?" And I was like, happened to see St. Baldrick's was on the list. Well, let's do it. And
Yeah.
very cool to be able to do it. And thank you to everybody again for donating. So you can watch me sometime tomorrow afternoon, and I'll confirm on social media what time it will be, and I'll get shaved bald. So there you go. By the way, Sunny Days actually donated, and he told me to shave my eyebrows. I'm not going to do that. So I'm sorry to let you down, but I will not be shaving the eyebrows. It will just be the hair on my head. I still have to show up to the
Paint
office.
you some on. It would be awesome.
I still like tattoo eyebrows.
Yeah.
I still
Or
got
go
to show.
unibrow.
Or there you go. I've
Yeah.
still got to show up to work every day, and I'm not
So
sure
funny.
how that will go over with no eyebrows. So
Are
I'm
you
gonna-
kidding? With all those stencils they have in makeup, now you just put the stencil on and just pat it on. You'd be
Yeah.
maybe next year. How about that? maybe next year. But for this year, it's just
maybe
gonna be,
next pandemic.
Yeah, there you
Right.
go.
There.
Yeah,
there.
when I'm on lockdown, I don't have to actually go out in public for a few months. Then
Right.
I'll do it. But until then, I will just do the hair on my head. So anyways, I think that's going to wrap us up. Again, it's been kind of a super episode here.
Yeah,
But I think everybody needed to hear the full rundown.
for sure.
And I can't wait till the next one, December 10th.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
until then, we're going to be back sometime. We got the holidays coming up too. I forget.
we do.
Right.
Thanksgiving
We
will
do.
be.
Next week is Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Whew. I don't know.
Yeah.
We hadn't
Go to
discussed.
press.
Should we discuss live here on the air? What are we going to do next week?
Nah, we'll figure it off. The
We'll
air.
figure it
try to
out.
see.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we
we'll
may or
figure
may
it
not be back. If not, we'll be back the following week because we have that extra week before
Yeah.
the December 10th show.
Yeah.
But either way, we'll be back. We will decide. We will preview and talk about all the upcoming matches. But
Mhm.
anybody got anything else? I'm just rambling at this point.
No, thank you
You
all.
guys
for your
have a great
continued
week.
Support. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, until next time, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.
Yeah.